South Africa and the US have struck a deal to allow the release of about 10 billion rand in frozen Libyan funds for humanitarian aid and other civilian needs. And COSATU's General Secretary Zwelinzima Vavi says he and other Labour Federation leaders will stop using medical aid as soon as the National Health Insurance Scheme is introduced. I'm Richard Brooks. South Africa and the US have struck a deal to allow the release of about 10 billion rand in frozen Libyan funds for humanitarian aid and other civilian needs. United Nations diplomats say the agreement will allow the release of the funds without a Security Council vote on a draft resolution that Washington submitted on Wednesday. This after South Africa blocked a US request to disperse the money in the United Nations Libyan Sanctions Committee. The South African delegation, led by Ambassador Basil Sanqu, says it does not support funds going directly to the Libyan rebel government, the Transitional National Council, which the AU does not recognize. Pretoria insists that there be no mention of the council in the official request for the release of funds. Mark Kornblau is the spokesperson for the US mission to the United Nations.
Basically, after some last-minute drama here with the U.S. and others threatening a Security Council vote to override the South African objections, there will be a deal made, and it will involve maybe a rewriting of the language so that there's less of a stress on the NTC, and that the money will indeed go to the Libyan people.
COSATU's General Secretary Zwelinzima Vavi says he and other Labour Federation leaders will stop using medical aid as soon as the National Health Insurance Scheme is introduced. The NHI Green Paper was released earlier this month. In another development, COSATU's President Sudumu Dlamini says the Labour Federation supports the need to change the constitution to bolster land redistribution, but does not support expropriation without compensation. He says they are concerned that the will buyer willing seller principle has not helped South Africa to achieve its objective in ensuring that land is restored to the people. Both Vavi and Dlamini were speaking after a meeting of COSATU's Central Executive Committee in Johannesburg. Despite the IMF's view that the Reserve Bank must hike lending rates due to rising inflation, economists say that investors and financial markets have started to price an interest rate cut. The IMF says that South Africa must be vigilant over rising price pressures in the economy that may warrant an interest rate. A pronounced rise in wages and inflation expectations may call for a rate increase, although global economic conditions make it difficult to determine the timing. Rulani Baloy has more.
Economist Colin Gero says poor economic conditions have prompted investors to take the view that lending rates could be cut. He says the crisis on global markets and the expected poor economic growth figures for the second quarter due out next week could see the central bank cut the repo rate. Gero says the central bank may take a more preemptive stance against the turmoil on global markets. Rulani Baloy, SABC News.
Catch the latest news anytime here on Newsbreak, Option 1.